Hi everybody, this is John at the Origin Factory. Welcome back. Thanks for stopping in to visit with us. I had an epiphany today in the shop while working on the Optic H10. But before we get to all that, I need to talk to you guys about us being a new channel first. And what really helps a small channel is like, comment, subscribe. Any type of interactions with a small channel helps us with YouTube. And you guys have been amazing. We've grown so much in the month of May, and very, very happy with that, and very appreciative to all of you that have found us and has been interacting with us and help us build the channel. Very appreciative, and I'll do what I can to keep providing you with content that stirs your interest. So, back to my little epiphany today in the shop. I'm going to attach another video here because I shot a second video of footage while looking at a few of the things in the shop here. So we're going to attach that now, and I'll be back to you in a minute. Okay, everybody, bear with me for a moment here. This is Origin Ripper number 67, which we acquired recently. As you can see, it's not completed. We bought it partially finished, and so it's never been run, never been fully assembled. We just got a transmission for it today. We're going with orange because it had orange knuckles when I bought it. So why not one more piece of orange? As you can see from the front, it's a blue on gray chassis. We put Method 105s on there with scarns and some scale hardware. Going to be a very sharp looking rig when it's done. We talked to Freak Skins. We're going to be working on custom wrap for it too. So right next to it, promised you in the other video, is H10 Optic by Vanquish. And as you can see with it all stripped down, it is very similar to Ripper, original Ripper. And when they've been talking about Ripper lately on the channel, they've been talking about stuff they would like to improve, what's been dealt with, what's better, and some of the things they would change, like suspension travel was one of the things mentioned. And I assume they would go to their own transmission, meaning the VFD, now that they've got their own transmission. Because when they built Ripper originally, they used an axial 3-gear, as you can see. So, where I'm going with all this, the more I look at these two side by side, and I think about, I have some experience with manufacturing and building stuff and all that happy fun stuff in my career field, and I'm gonna start calling this plastic Ripper because I really believe I'm reasonably confident that Ripper 2 is going to be based off of this. Think of all the design time it takes you to design something like this from scratch when they had nothing else. And then when you look at Ripper, the original, it is very reminiscent of the Optic. It has a lot of similar design cues. I mean, granted, it's the same company that built both of them, of course, but the more I look at it, the more I feel, and the more I think about the business end of it. Could you imagine designing Ripper 2 from scratch and have it completely different from this? That's crazy, logistics-wise. That's a lot of time. You'd be crazy not to borrow the research off of this to build Ripper 2. And
we know Vanquish. They're reasonably smart people. I really believe that all the time they spent researching this, Ripper 2 is going to be an aluminum version of this. And that's not to knock it, but it just be hard to imagine Ripper 2 to be completely unique of these two vehicles and not borrow all the time and research they put into this. Because like one of the complaints with the original Ripper was that battery tray that's tucked away in there, almost impossible to get when you got the panels on a driver in there. So what do? They came out with this unique battery design that fits in the side panel. You know, the original one had a 3-gear. Now they have their own transmission, so they have a VFD, which of course they would use in this product no matter what. But to me, the Optic looks like the test bed to resolve some of the issues with the regular Ripper, bring it to the next level, and I really believe Ripper 2 is just going to be an aluminum. I'm not going to say just, because it's still a masterpiece of CNC work to create what they did, especially with the original Ripper. So being, you know, if it is a borrowed design from this, that's not a negative so much. It's just smart business to utilize all that research. And I could be 100% wrong, but the more I think about it and the more I look at these two side by side, and to have a third rig after all that time put in the Optic, they said they put 2 years into it. You know, I think they designed Ripper 2 and then they started spinning off on the Optic, or vice versa, one or the other. Because, man, it just looks so much. There's so many design cues that are similar but slightly revised, and you know, and when they've talked about when their test bed for Ripper 2 that they've been driving, how much better it is, and you know, all the little quirks and stuff with the original Ripper that they resolved in the new Ripper, and so I don't know. You know, even to have the vertical number plates on there, which is just like Ripper. Jim even said in one of the live streams that it'll have unique axles. Well, what does Optic have? It has redesigned axles that are unique. There's just been so many little subtle hints. And they talked about front suspension travel and how it wasn't as good in the original Ripper and how they resolved some of that. And Brandon talked about that with Jim in one of the episodes. And I know Brandon's got a big part in the making of the Optic. So when you think of how small their company is and the amount of manpower they have to build Ripper 2 on top of the Optic and have it be something different and unique, they don't have the manpower for that to dedicate to, but it would be smart business to borrow as much as they could to make the next Ripper. Not saying it won't be a unique masterpiece, but I'm just trying to think about this in a realistic business move that maybe I cracked the code here. I don't know. But there's a lot of similarities between the two. And then you see the Optic and you see some of the issues with the original Ripper, or limitations, and how it's been resolved. You know, it's... Call me crazy in the comments if you want, but I think we know Ripper 2 is going to be a version of Optic H10. So those of you wondering what Ripper 2 is going to be like, I'd be willing to bet you money. It is very similar. I mean, it may not be a facsimile of it, but I bet you it's going to be very similar. Anyways, this is John from the Origin Factory.
So, after seeing all that, does it make sense? Am I right? Am I wrong? Call me crazy. I don't know. Throw it in the comments. It's something that's been on all our minds since the announcement of Ripper 2. What does it mean? What is it going to look like? Price, all that fun stuff. Everybody's had a million questions about it, rightfully so. It's an amazing rig, and we know Ripper 2 will be just as amazing as the original one. But to think about all the time and energy spent on the Optic H10 and not borrow some of that, boy, it would. I don't have any inside information. This is just the ramblings of a crazy guy in a shop today. So it's something to talk about until we see Ripper. So anyways, thank you again for stopping by. Like I said earlier, if you can like, comment, subscribe, any of those, all of them, it all helps the channel, and I'm very appreciative. Thank you for all your interactions with the channel to keep us growing, and we'll see you soon. God bless.